Yo, what's up, fanbase? It's your boy Blaze Hollow coming at you with another What If, and this time I'm bringing you what if Deku had Mahito's abilities. This has been heavily suggested for its second part, along with it being a while, so do not let me hold you up. Let's run that intro and get into it.
I honestly don't think you can become a hero.
It was a calm and relaxing morning. Izuku was just waking up, lying on the couch as he was trying to get up, only to feel himself weighted down. When he looked down, he saw that Toga was cuddling on top of him, which turned his face completely red as he started to stutter, not knowing what to do. Toga, what are you doing on top of me? Toga stirred a little bit, tightening her grip on Izuku, almost like she didn't want to let him go while staying asleep. Izuku truly did not know what to do as he laid there with her on top of him. He thought about yesterday, trying to figure out what started this entire tragedy. I just wish I could figure out what caused me to become that monster. Toga opened her eyes like she was awake the whole time when she just looked up at Izuku so sweetly. It's not that you became a monster, it's the part of yourself that you keep locked away. Izuku was startled. How long have you been awake, and what do you mean by locked away? Toga sat up as she knocked the blanket off of the both of them, as she revealed that she was wearing a loose-fitting tank top with sweat shorts as she was sitting on Izuku's lap. It's quite obvious if you think about it. Once those guys started to push your buttons and make you feel like trash, your ability started to activate, which allowed you to tap into that locked away rage hidden behind this innocent facade. Izuku was even more confused, knowing that he wasn't a bad person. He wasn't vengeful. He wanted to be a hero. He wanted to be there for the people. That just can't be true. I'm trying to become a hero. I'm trying to do what's right for society and the people that need help. Toga had a sad look on her face. And where has that gotten you? Izuku was about to reply when he really did think about it. He was a good student, but he would always get bullied and teachers would never help him. He prayed for a quirk so he could do good things, but he never got one. He hoped that his mother would support his dream, but she gave up way before he even realized it. I can't say that I've gotten much out of it, but it doesn't mean I have to turn villain now. With my ability that I've been granted, I can do great things, I think. Toga thought about it for a second as she got up and walked over to the coffee machine in the kitchen. You could do great things and realize how quickly people's opinions change about you the moment you have power, or the fact that they might find your ability creepy and shun you for it even more. Izuku sat up completely on the couch, not knowing what to make of that statement. What do you mean I'll notice people's opinions change or shun me if my abilities creepy? I just don't understand. Toga didn't say anything as she was focused on making her cup of coffee. Once she finally had her cup, she took a sip from it and turned around to face Izuku with a serious look on her face. You don't realize how fickle people can be. I'm sure that you've had some experience while being quirkless, how they change on you. Probably had a friend or two that left you behind when they realized your value was so low. Izuku's eyes widened, remembering back in kindergarten when he was deemed quirkless. A lot of kids started to distance themselves from him or just started to bully him because he couldn't do anything about it. As he thought about it, it started to enrage him as he was clenching his fist. It could just be a coincidence. Toga shook her head while walking back into the living room, sitting on the left side of the couch as she took a sip from her coffee. Out of my curiosity, are both of your parents still around, or is it just your mother? Izuku was thinking about it, knowing that the last time he saw his dad was when he was 4, when he got his quirk results back, but after that day he hasn't seen him. My father has been working overseas. Toga raised an eyebrow hearing that. When was the last time you spoke with your father? Maybe got a text or a letter? Who was the one that even told you he was working overseas? Izuku was trying to come up with something, anything. If there was ever a letter, he doesn't remember getting any text messages or a phone call from his dad. Just thinking about this hurt his head. He felt like he was trying to break through some kind of seal that was trying to keep him away from this line of thinking. No, I haven't heard from my father in any way ever since I was 4. Toga had a puzzled look on her face as she set her coffee down on the coffee table in front of her as she leaned back on the couch. That's weird. The age of 4, so he wasn't a deadbeat. Something significant had to happen during that time when you were a child at the age of 4. I wonder what it could be. Izuku finally stood up as he was starting to pace back and forth, trying to get his grip on reality. It's the goddamn deadline for when a quirk can manifest within a child. Toga smirked like she already knew the answer. Really now, so your dad started to view you differently the moment he found out your status. Isn't that a little bit convenient? Izuku started to hyperventilate, wondering why he could never put the dots together. He was looking around this entire room as the walls were caving in. He was panicking. He was angry. He was just so confused. At that precise moment, Toga sensed something about Izuku was changing. Before she could even comment on it, Izuku punched a hole through the coffee table, surprising her along with himself. Once the hand was pulled back through, he noticed that there was no blood or injury, along with the hand having a different coloring to it. But once he noticed it, his hand started to change back as skin was starting to bubble a little bit as it started to shape back into its natural status. Toga's eyes were wide open as she was curious but wanted to calm down the situation before her bloody prince will go out of control. Breathe. I hope breaking my coffee table makes you feel better. Izuku was transfixed on his hand, wondering what he just did. What was that just now? Toga picked up her coffee cup as she took a sip from it for a few seconds, not saying anything. I don't know what it is, but I'm starting to figure out what triggers it. Izuku looked at her like he just wanted some answers. What are you talking about? How did this even happen to me? Toga shook her head, not realizing how much her prince is naive to his own feelings. If I were to take a guess, it's that bottled up emotion of rage and frustration. You were angry in the alleyway when you killed those 3 guys, and now you were frustrated with me and punched a hole right through my coffee table. Izuku was holding on to his hand that broke through the coffee table as the thoughts just kept on hitting him like a brick wall over and over again. The bullies, the absent father, his mother lying to him. It finally clicked in his mind. With this new ability, I can finally get back at those who have wronged me. Toga sat up with some gleam in her eyes. Really now? That doesn't sound very hero-like. Are you sure? Izuku looked towards the window as he walked over to it, seeing the city for what it really is. You finally opened my eyes, Toga. I feel like a fool. There are certain things about this that I'm still hesitant about, but there is still one thing I want to try. Toga walked over to him as she just wrapped her arms around him. What are you planning? Izuku looked at her with a serious look. I want to find one of my bullies and capture him and see how he feels when he is powerless to do anything about his situation. I want him to feel how I felt. Toga let go of him as she started to jump for joy, knowing that this was about to get so much fun. Okay then, let me go get your clothes out of the washing machine and we can get started. Izuku just stood there as he saw her walk off, thinking to himself, the world is about to see me become something twisted, but I feel as though I'm becoming the truest form of justice to society. After the both of them got dressed for the day, they decided to head out. Izuku took a few minutes while they were walking to decide which bully was going to be attacked by them first. When they walked past an arcade and Izuku noticed a boy with red-like bat wings, causing him to stop dead in his track, which took Toga a second to notice as she stopped 2 steps ahead of him. What's wrong? Are we taking a break from our search? Izuku slowly brought her into the arcade and hid behind one of the game cabinets as he pointed at the boy. That's one of them. Toga looked at the guy and wondered how he could be a bully when he was below average, fat, and had a lame quirk. But when she thought about it again, that's basically the recipe for a bully. Oh, what is the plan, Izuku? Are we going to lead him away from here? Are you planning on making a scene of the arcade? What is going to happen? Izuku was starting to get cold feet, realizing what he was trying to do, because once he does it, there's no going back. I don't know. I had confidence when we were trying to find them, but now that we're getting close to actually doing something like this, I'm getting nervous. Toga groaned in annoyance. Okay, why don't you let me lead him somewhere private? You can follow us, and once we're all alone, you can finally confront him about everything and see what happens from there. Izuku nodded his head, thinking that that was a good idea. Okay, go make your move. Toga had a sweet smile on her face as she walked over towards him, leaning on the arcade machine, making it seem like she was interested in the game. Hey there, handsome. Mind if I play the next round? The guy was surprised as he looked over at Toga. She was very cute and had a very nice smile. Sure. What's a sweet girl like you doing in an arcade by yourself? Toga pretended to be sad as she put her right hand on her cheek, looking away a little bit. Well, I was originally supposed to be meeting up with my boyfriend, but he texted me a few minutes ago saying that we should break up, so I just decided to play a few games to drown out my sorrow. The guy's wings flapped a little bit, excited about a hot girl on the rebound. Well, if he couldn't see the value of you, he didn't deserve you. He then heard a noise from the game saying game over as he looked at Toga. Well, it looks like I died. Do you want to take your turn? Toga nodded as she pulled out some coins from her pocket and started playing around. You know, you're very sweet. When I'm done, why don't we go get a smoothie together? I know a nice place 2 blocks away. The guy got a little red in the face as he scratched the back of his head, wondering what he did to get such a lucky opportunity. Yeah, sure, that will be fun. Maybe you can tell me about this ex of yours. I have a few friends that might be able to help me teach this guy a lesson for not treating you right. Toga allowed herself to get killed in game as she stared into the guy's eyes, looking like she was pleading. Really? That would mean the world to me. Toga was playfully pulling on his arm, leading the guy out of the arcade and through a couple of alleyways, Izuku not too far behind them, but was making sure to stay out of sight. Once Toga was able to get to the proper alleyway, one with the abandoned buildings with a door that was broken, she pushed the guy inside, causing him to tumble on the ground, wondering what was going on. Hey, what's going on? Why did you push me in here? Toga shook her head in annoyance as she pulled a knife out from underneath her skirt. Guys with small, fragile egos just like you are so easy to manipulate that it's not even funny. It's just really, really sad. The guy was confused, trying to get up, but that's when he heard the door that he was pushed through open and then close all over again. Oh, thank God, there's somebody else here to help me. I think this girl is crazy. Trying to get a better look at the person who just came in as the lights turned on, causing him to squint as his vision went a little bit blurry. Once he was able to get back into focus, he noticed that it was Izuku who was in front of him. Oh God, of all the people to show up to rescue me, it had to be you. Now we're both gonna die. Izuku got annoyed hearing that all this guy knew is he could have been here to save him, but now he's even more more grateful that he's here to beat the shit out of him. I'm not here to help you. I'm here to teach you a lesson about bullying. The guy looked around at the situation and realized that he was alone in an abandoned building with a loser and some random girl. This caused him to start laughing. Oh no, what are you going to do? Give me a lecture on how wrong it is to pick on someone beneath me? Are you going to get this random girl to stab me with that fake knife? He then proceeded to fully get up off the ground as he got into Izuku's face. Newsflash, Deku, I'm not afraid of you, and I can't wait to bring this out to Bakugo. Him and the boys are going to enjoy hunting you down and beating the snot out of you. Izuku was getting angry, especially when he heard the winged boy in front of him starting to laugh in his face. This is when he finally had enough and grabbed onto the guy's arm as the surge of power that he didn't know causes the arm to burst into pieces, leaving the rest of the body intact. You should truly be afraid of me. I'm not the same guy you used to pick on all these years. The guy screamed in agony as he took a few steps back, falling onto his ass as blood was dripping out of his shoulder where his arm used to be. What? What the heck did you just do to me? You're supposed to be quirkless. Put my arm back right now. Izuku wasn't listening to what the guy was saying as he walked over to him slowly and kicked him right in the jaw, knocking one of his teeth loose. Shut the hell up. I don't want to hear you asking me questions about what I'm doing or how is this possible. All I ever want to hear you do is beg for your life or apologize from your soul. The guy was whimpering in pain, covering his mouth with his hand, feeling the blood all over it as he started to feel woozy. You won't get away with this. People will find me. I may not be alive to see it, but you'll rot in jail for this, Deku. Izuku just stared into the man's eyes with a look of non-caring, like everything about his previous demeanor was gone. Taking slow steps, hearing the squelching noise of blood underneath his feet, the guy tried to crawl backwards only to fail and fall onto his chest when he got stuck. Don't worry about them finding you. They won't. But hey, why don't we play a game? It's called Justify. If you're able to justify your action to me, I'll let you go, along with making sure that you don't die. But if you fail to do so, I will rip another piece of your body off. The guy was breathing heavily, finding it hard to stay conscious with his blood leaking out, but this might be a good way to buy some time. Maybe somebody saw them as they went through the alleyways. Whatever you say, let's play a game. Toga went over to the victim with a med kit as she started to bandage up the bleeding area so he wouldn't bleed out to death, at least not yet. I have to say, you do look a lot better covered in all this blood, but you're not one of my victims. You're my bloody prince's victim today, so let's see if God is on your side to keep you alive. He was shaking like crazy, thankful that he was being bandaged, but he could still feel the blood trying to get through the bandages. Alright, just ask your stupid question already. Izuku didn't know why, but he kind of enjoyed seeing one of his former bullies in pain and afraid. First question, why is it the moment I was deemed quirkless back in kindergarten, you started to bully me along with the others? The guy was hesitant to answer at first, so he decided to come up with some kind of excuse. Well, you see, I was just trying to convince the others to let you join. It's just that Bakugo never would listen to me. I'm really sorry on that. Izuku glared, knowing that that was a lie, but wanting to give him a warning and one last chance to answer honestly. I know that you're lying. I'll give you one more chance to answer before I rip one of your wings off. The guy was shaking his head profusely as he was crawling backwards. No. I really was trying to help. If you remember, I was one of the guys standing in the background. I really didn't do much to you if you think about it. Izuku didn't hesitate as he got close and ripped off one of the guy's wings and threw it aside as he started to yell in the guy's face. Now tell me the truth! The guy screamed out in fear and agony. I did it because you were weak and worthless. We all knew that if we messed with you, there would never be any consequences because no one would care about you. There, I said it. I really said it. Is that what you wanted to hear? Izuku hung his head down low, realizing how true Toga's words were from earlier. Do you even feel bad for what you did, what you caused for me? The guy realized he had nothing to lose at this point. He was going to die. Of course not. I never thought that there would be a chance you would get payback on me. I truly did enjoy laughing at your pathetic face every time we would put you in the dirt. So there you go. You have your truth. What are you gonna do with it now, you loser? Izuku felt like one of the strings that were connecting him to his former self starting to snap away as he put his hands on the guy's face and watched him bubble and contort until he blew up into chunks all over the place. I'm going to get my revenge on all of you. Toga was jumping and clapping for joy from the performance. There, you did it. You got back at one of your bullies, and you did it in the most bloody way. How do you feel? Izuku took a few minutes to breathe, feeling like he finally zoned back in on himself, seeing bloody pieces of flesh all over the wall. Along with the torn off wing, he looked at his hands and not understood how he did all this. It's almost like when this whole thing began, he wasn't himself anymore. It's weird because I don't feel like myself, but I don't feel bad for what has happened here. It's like my psyche split, but I'm in control of both of them. It's just that a part of my mind seems to go hazy when I start doing stuff like this. Does that make any sense? Toga walked over and pulled out a handkerchief that she was hiding within her jacket and wiped off some of the blood of Izuku's hands and face. Kind of. I went through something similar a while back. Not as heavy as yours, but your mind is still trying to keep you blind to your actions. Because you're not fully committed to this side of life yet. Give it a few more victims. Or possibly a couple of run-ins with people when they start to see our power fully start to take off. That will truly get you focused on this way of life. Izuku fully having the adrenaline go down. He was finally thinking clearly about the situation. We need to find somewhere so I can actually practice my abilities. This was risky. For all we know, this guy could have gotten away because my ability didn't activate or something. I don't even know what I'm fully capable of, so this makes this entire scene so much worse. Toga realized how risky this was for her prince, not being fully ready for this situation. You're completely right. We should find somewhere private to see what we can discover about your abilities, but I think we should get you some new shoes so you can go home to your mother before she starts getting suspicious. Izuku pulled out his phone, realizing that it was already midday as they were trying to find one of these guys plus going through this entire torture scene. Right, I don't know about getting new shoes, but if we can clean them good enough, she might not even notice. He stared at the crime scene a little bit, concerned that someone might find it. What should we do about this whole place? Toga looked around as she had a big smile. Oh, don't worry, I'll come back later, probably with a little bit of bleach here and there, and then strike a match. This place will go up in flames, or at least burn enough in this room that there will be no trace of evidence. Izuku had a big concern about how effective Toga is at cleaning up crime scenes. I know I'm new to this, but you really are scary when you talk like that. Toga smiled at him as they both left the scene, going somewhere to rinse off Izuku's shoes until they couldn't even tell that they were stepping on blood. Once that was done, they started making their way towards Izuku's house, where the both of them gave each other a quick hug, even though Izuku got red in the face and was so nervous about it. It took him about 10 minutes to get up the stairs and in front of his apartment as he pulled pulled out his key. Hey Mom, I'm home. Inko popped her head out of the kitchen, happy to see her son, who seemed to be in actual good spirits instead of his usual stiff and quiet self. Good to see you home, sweetie. Did you have fun at your friend's house? Izuku scratched the back of his head as he was smiling ear to ear. Yeah, it was actually a lot of fun. Her and I should have taken some pictures when we were out today. Inko was about to go back in the kitchen when her mother instincts picked up on the word she, so she quickly turned her head back so fast that it almost gave her whiplash. Wait, are you telling me this whole time you were with a girl? Izuku realized his mistake as he started to blush and scratch the back of his head even faster. Well, yeah, she's very nice to me. I should maybe introduce you sometime. Inko walked over to her son and grabbed onto both of his hands, but when she did so, she realized that he tried to jerk them back even though she kept a tight grip. Did anything happen between the both of you? Is there something I need to know? Izuku blushed from embarrassment as his face turned completely red as a tomato. We're not like that. We haven't even done anything like that. We weren't even thinking about that, Mom. Inko was looking into her own son's eyes, realizing that he wasn't lying, but what kept on making her concerned is how he kept on trying to pull his hands away from her. Is something wrong with your hands? You usually never pull away from me. Izuku was trying to come up with something quickly, but also convincing. My hand was just hurting. We went to the arcade and we played for a while. Got a little bit of cramps in my fingers. Inko shrugged her shoulders as she let go, finding that believable. Okay, well, I was only expecting to make lunch for myself, but since you're here, I can make a little bit more. Why don't you go wash up and I'll have lunch ready for the both of us shortly. Izuku watched as his mother went back into the kitchen, releasing a breath that he didn't even realize he was holding. Sure thing, Mom. But that's where I'm gonna leave it off this time, guys. Make sure to leave a like and comment down below. I always love reading your comments. I know this took a while to get out, but I have other projects that I've been working on, especially helping out other channels here and there. But with all that said, I'm out this time, guys. Peace.